Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I am happy to have you. Today we are going to be talking about the things to avoid in your weight loss journey, especially if you are wanting more long-term sustainable results. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see any future videos, and as well as clicking down the bell notification so you can get alerted when I do post a video. You should avoid when it comes to your weight loss. Number one, crash dieting. If you are unfamiliar to what crash dieting is, it is essentially when someone is wanting to lose a large portion of their weight in a short time frame. So someone who's wanting to lose 10 pounds in a week, losing 30 pounds in a month. And by doing this, they are either limiting and cutting out a whole macronutrients like their carbs, fat, protein, or they are eating in a low, severe amount of calories, anywhere from 700 to 900. And for some people, even 1200 calories is way too low. And for most grown adults, it is very low to be doing that. And when they are doing these crash dieting, they may see results from the scale. But most of the time when they're losing that weight, it is just simply water retention that is being lost. So as soon as you stop doing most of these diets, that weight will show back up on the scale because you weren't actually losing your body fat percentage. It was just excess water and etc. The biggest thing to ask yourself if you are unsure, if you are doing a crash diet, is can you see yourself doing this long term? And if your answer is no, you're crash dieting because you're doing something that is unrealistic for you. And that can literally be anything from keto, paleo, Beachbody, the carnivore diet. I would even say vegetarian because some people may do it to limit, again, cutting out a whole complete food group like meats and stuff like that. Most people that are vegan, I would assume they're doing it for the fact that they're trying to save the animals. But again, so doing any sort of form of diet or meal plan that actually isn't going to help you in the long term and actually might just take you away from your goals a little bit more. Number two, so this one ties into the first one a lot, but having unrealistic goals and time frames. So obviously this is going to differ from everyone depending on what your goals are. But for an example, if you have this huge event or a vacation that you're wanting to go on to, only giving yourself 2 weeks in order to lose 15 pounds. So instead of doing that, giving yourself a couple months to prepare so that you are not crash dieting, you're not overdoing it all at once. So hitting large amounts of cardio, hitting weights, trying to figure out this crash dieting and just overwhelming yourself so that something doesn't stick and you're not making it a lifestyle. You're just throwing everything all together and hoping that it works. So that's the biggest example. Number three, cutting out a whole entire macronutrient. So like we talked about, either a fat, carb, or protein. So yes, some people do better on like a lower carb diet or a higher fat or a lower fat, but you should not have to cut out a whole entire food group. Our body is meant and needs all of those macronutrients for our body to function. So if you're cutting out a whole entire food group, you might need to rethink what you're doing. But you can also, with that being said, play around with seeing whether your body reacts more to higher carbs, lower carbs, higher fats, lower fats. So again, having more time to play around with things to figure what works best for you. You typically will be able to figure out really fast if your body functions better with higher fats or lower fats or higher carbs and lower carbs. Like for me, I function a lot better with higher fats. So don't cut out a whole entire macronutrients. And number four, don't fall for scams. So things like detox teas, detox cleanse, waist trainers, things like sweet sweat, those sort of things that are targeting fats, cinching in your stomach, fat burners, fat blasting supplements. So for detox, our liver is meant to do the detoxing for us. Our body knows when it needs to detox. You don't need to decide it for it. It will do it on its own. And if you are having a hard time feeling like if you need to do a detox or something doesn't feel right, maybe it's time that you need to step in and make a doctor's appointment so that they can do blood work and actually see what's going on, because you might even be lacking in a certain vitamin that you need to just add into your routine. It could be as simple as just getting that blood work done. Waist trainers, waist whatever, anything, you cannot make this part just disappear just from those. Waist trainers. So, those stupid corset things. Depending on your waist to hip ratio, so where the bottom of your rib cage to the top of your hip bone, you cannot change that. That is something that comes from your body, the way that your bone structure is designed. So for me, I have a long torso, so I can get that little bit more of that curve because my body and bone structure allows me to have that. So doing a corset isn't going to allow that. If you are someone who has no space in between their hip and their rib cage, having that waist corset thing also isn't going to do anything. You physically can't change that bone structure. And then the things like sweet sweat, having this cream to target that area, you might be sweating a little bit more, so you might be able to lose water retention, but it's not going to lose water retention from that specific area. It will just overall maybe help with a little bit of bloating. Like my mom puts on some essential oils into her belly button, and she'll put the waist trainer over top when she's doing her run, and she just feels it helps with her menstrual cramps. So sure, if you want to do it for that, but just realize it is not going to be targeting specifically for that area, because again, to lose your waist, you need to be losing overall body fat percentage. You cannot change that structure of your hip to your rib cage in order to get that hourglass figure. Your body already determines whether or not that's going to happen for you. You can always try and see if there's a cosmetic thing that you can do for that. I've seen people who get rid of their ribs in order to have that. That also in itself comes with lots of health issues as well, because our lungs need our rib cage in order to get a larger amount of surface area to breathe. So just realize that there is things that you can fix, but there's also things that you need to love enough to fix other things in your body and to accept and to love. And number 5 and final thing is only doing cardio. So cardio is a great thing. Obviously, it has cardio, which is cardiovascular health. So it is great for our heart. It burns calories. It is great for also just like your whole entire mind and stuff like that. But for weight loss, you don't just need to be doing cardio. Adding in resistance or weight training, those are the things that are going to help shape and define your body to get that more toned overall look, because again, you are building that muscle, you are building that shoulder, you are building those lats to get that little bit more of that V taper, so it gets more of that hourglass figure, as well as building those legs so that you can have wider legs. So you can have those sort of looks by building muscle simply. And as well as for cardio, if you're starting off with doing too much at once, so doing an hour of cardio a day, it's kind of hard to progress from there. So don't just do cardio and don't do too much of it at once, because when, like for an example, for weightlifting, you can do progressive overload, meaning you are slowly either adding weight, time under tension, or your repetitions. And if you're starting out with too much of cardio at once, you might hit a plateau. as if you are starting out with a lower amount of intensity, you are also adding in your weight training, you are less likely to hit a plateau, and then that also helps getting your results because you are able to progress from there rather than stalling and just doing the same thing each time. So those are the 5 things that you should try to avoid, and a few things that you can start implementing to help you in your journey and get there, not a little bit faster, but get you to where you want to be a lot more efficient and so that it sticks. If you have any more questions about weight loss or literally anything else fitness related, mom related, whatever it is, as always, leave it down in the comment section below. And don't forget to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and have a fantastic day.